Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is AltarQuest, and when we last left this table, we were looking at AltarQuest, the core game. This time, we're going to check out Ruins of Arkenspire, the one and only expansion to AltarQuest, not counting the stretch goals, which we are also going to be looking at in this video. AltarQuest was created by Adam and Brady Sadler and was published by Blacklist Games. It also includes the modular deck system, trademark, and features a rulebook, a new story guide, 2 double-sided encounter tiles, 18 new miniatures, 9 card dividers, and 142 cards, as well as 2 secret boxes with cover artwork that reminds us who our heroes are, no matter how wickedly evil they may look. She is so sick. Something I wanted to show you before we delve into the contents of the expansion, however, I wanted to show you first of all, the board, the backdrop that I'm using for this video, incidentally, is the board that comes with the main AltarQuest game. If you'd like to see me do a broad overview of the components and an unboxing of that game, go check out that video. But I wanted to show you the contents of the core game of AltarQuest after I took all of the card separators, the deck separators rather, and the cards and put them with their respective separators. This tray is one of the most useful yet underutilized things in a tabletop dungeon crawler ever. Why doesn't every single game do this? We need trays in which to put our numerous decks, and we need deck separators. The fact that this comes with this game, AltarQuest, it just makes this whole experience so cool. You don't have decks everywhere all over your table. Now, a lot of you big-brained people might already utilize some sort of homebrew solution for your various decks in games like HeroQuest, but once you get to a certain point in the official content where you have deck after deck after deck, this really needs to be something that is included with the game by design. And the fact that this is here is just awesome. We have a lot of dead space here, so I'm really thinking that this was meant to accommodate this collection of decks should you be of the type who sleeves their cards. But I did also consider that maybe this expansion was developed around the same time that they were finalizing stuff for that game, and they wanted to make enough room in the box for the cards and decks that came with this expansion. But we'll find out. But without further ado, as they say, let's dive into AltarQuest, Ruins of Arkenspire. We have our rules here, and it's just a really simple 4-page setup. The encounter tiles, as they are called, are associated with encounter decks. Each encounter tile has hero start spaces and shadows spaces printed on the board. We'll take a look at what that means here right now. This encounter tile is called Camp Ambush, and you use the Camp Ambush encounter deck with it. It's really cool, and it does follow the 1-inch grid system perfectly, so you could use it as an overlay tile, but these baked-on symbols that denote where heroes and villains and such start and where different features are on the map could be a real immersion breaker, so this is the sort of thing that I don't really recommend using with your homebrew stuff. Also, these weren't meant to serve as like overlays on the board. These are encounters that are played standalone, at least as far as where the encounter is actually held. Encounters have their own setup, and after you go through the process of setting up an encounter, it may be pretty easy to see how you could homebrew your own encounters. Just like you can homebrew your own quests in the core game of AltarQuest, once you've taken a look at what goes into the creation of a quest. We have our Ruins of Arkenspire story guide, and just as explained in the last video, these story guides serve as sort of narrative-driven adventures in which players are given a backdrop, a story, and then some narrative, and then they're allowed to make a choice. And this choice, well, it could be good or it could be bad, but it's going to determine a specific boon or perhaps debuff that they'll get before starting the next quest. It will actually change a little bit about the quest that they're going to be playing. And then it will instruct them to play the quest. So this is a really, really cool way to weave between quests in a game, especially in a game where your quests are largely built by deck and quest setup per instructions of a single card. You really don't have to use the story guide to chain quests together, but this does provide a backdrop and some context and some story so that you can have a campaign of linked quests. Really, really good way to do that, and I'm a huge fan of that whole concept. So besides the Camp Ambush encounter tile, we also have In Trouble, and this is really where the symbols being printed onto the board is really a shame. I think that they should have been tiles, and then the tiles would have been separate and then placed onto the board per the setup instructions, and then you could have used the board in other games as well. And I guess you still could, but for somebody like me, these symbols being on here just ruin it as far as homebrew. We've got symbols that denote mugs of perhaps ale. We've got enemies able to spawn in at the windows and doors and maybe even stairs, coming in to attack your heroes, which will start here at this table, just trying to enjoy a bit of food and drink, a little bit of ale and cheese in celebration of their completion of the core game. The Ark and Hold is up next, and it's a beautiful map. It does have scaling issues. We have cells here with just teeny tiny entrances. We've got stairs, and you need teeny tiny feet, although this is more of a perspective thing. We're closer to this stairwell here, so of course these stairs are going to be bigger. Still, I tend to think the stuff is scaled very strangely. Never mind that, that's just me kind of picking on things. They aren't real complaints, they're just observations. Finally, we have Grave Disturbances, where we've got an encounter that takes place in a cemetery. I like it. We've got broken headstones, we've got a statue in the center, an angel that is there to protect the souls as they pass on into the afterlife. We've got some headstones, perhaps evidence of grave robbing, some desecration, some good old exhuming to make way for new bodies. And then we've got our enemy symbols where they're going to come out of the bushes to attack our heroes. This is pretty much everything the game comes with right here. This tray that lifts out of this box is like 3 inches tall, and there's no reason for it because this is the only layer of tray in this box. Indeed, the cards are the deepest thing here, and they didn't have to store them upright like this. They could have stored them like this or even in stacks. But this does suggest that the contents of this expansion are to remain separate from the main game, which is kind of a shame. I'm kind of the idea that you should be able to combine your expansions all together, and that should be by design, but I kind of get that they didn't want to allow that. It just kind of annoys me that the tray is so darn tall. The game doesn't have to take up as much space as it does. Okay, we will get into the contents of box 1 and 2 because you might be of the mind that what's in these boxes may sell or completely not sell this game to you, but we're not going to do that until the very end of this video, so you have plenty of time, and I'll give you plenty of warning when that occurs. So at that point you can stop watching because you won't miss anything else. Now, we do have a variety of new characters and even a feature. We have monsters like these sort of primal undead ghoulish folks. They may not be undead, they may not be ghouls, but this one's rummaging around. He's got a bone. Perhaps he's going to use it as a weapon. Perhaps it's a form of sustenance as he chews meat off of it. Perhaps both. Well, either way, he's got a bone to pick with the heroes. A joke that I will never stop making. We have what looks to be an undead clad in knightly armor, wielding a sword. And then we've got 5 of these really fantastic translucent sculpts of these ladies wielding dual hand axes. If there's one miniature out of all of this that I think would HeroQuest fantastically, it's the idea of a specter that instead of floating around, sort of relying on dread magic, they are here to manifest corporeally and attack your heroes with axes. There's nothing more base than that. Can't believe I just said based. Okay, and then we have a sarcophagus or coffin with the lid slightly ajar. This is a really cool feature, and I want to reiterate that the materials are really nice quality. The details are super nice on these. No QC issues here, that's for sure. We've got a minotaur with a surprisingly tiny head. We know that's what it is. It's a sort of a cow skull, and he's got cloven hoof feetsies, but the gigantic weapon that he wields more than makes up for his tiny cerebellum. And finally, we have this gaunt sorcerer. That's not a gaunt sorcerer for copyright purposes. He is carrying a giant tome by a chain. That is just a lot of storytelling without saying a word. I really like that. Fingies outstretched in a claw, threatening heroes and thralls alike with his presence. We have deck separators that will clue you in on the cards that come with this. We won't go through the cards, but I will go through the deck separators to tell you what kinds of stuff comes with this. We've got the Ark and Hold, we've got Grave Disturbances, we've got In Trouble, and we've got Camp Ambush, and those are our event decks. Next up, we've got Ruins of Arkenspire, which is the storybook deck. Into the Arkenspire. Don't know what that is. Thane of Nethander, which is our enemy there. Profaned. So we have a profaned. Oh, these are the profanes. That's the name of this group of enemies. And if there is any question as to whether or not these cards and their separators will fit into the core game, I am here to confirm or deny that for you now. I would say as long as you're not sleeving your cards, that you do indeed have enough room for all of these new cards to go into your existing core game tray. So in my mind, that's what this was for. This was designed to have enough room for the expansion. So you might have to lose one of the miniature trays in here to make room for everything and store things just a little bit differently. But it can be done. We're not going to go through these boxes right now, don't worry. I'm just lifting them out so I can put them aside so we can go through them later. Okay, calm down. Yes, I know. There are some folks who would say, Ash, don't open these. Experience the game as it was intended to be experienced. Spoiler boxes actually don't interest me personally, and I know that there are a bunch of other people that feel the same way. What's in this box isn't going to make or break your decision about this whole thing, but you might be on the fence about this whole thing. And that's why the option to stop watching near the end of the video after I give you the warning, the big long warning that you can't avoid or ignore or accidentally sleep through, will be here. But you might agree with me that what's in these boxes wasn't necessary to hide away as well. It's a strange choice in game design to hide the contents away. It may be the intention of the designers to do so because they would like you to have a specific experience, but how well tested was that? Enough of my blabbing, let's get to the stretch goals box. All right, this is the biggest out of all the boxes. It's a bit taller than the core game box, and it's the heaviest of the boxes. So it's kind of crazy to me that the stretch goals are so much. Wait a minute, let's look at the box art. Boy, this has the strangest of the smells too, as far as the manufacturing process goes. Our stretch goals box looks to have, I hope, new heroes embedded within. I actually don't remember the details of what's supposed to be with the stretch goals. I didn't back the original campaign. This was an eBay find. This was very much I found the whole group of this very HeroQuest inspired looking game. I'd like to have it. She's really pretty. Crowboy is really cool too. I like him. Not sure what to think about Monstrous Wolfskaven. This is really heavy. Maybe there's a lot of printed material in here. Okay. Lid of the box obviously wasn't inspired by HeroQuest. They never are. There's not enough room on this table for this. Okay, we've got expansion contents, a game board, 5 colored altar dice, and 135 miniatures. There are 135 miniatures in here. There are 417 cards, 18 card dividers, and 4 plastic base rings. The stretch goals rule chart here. Oh, how interesting. Interesting character here. It's just comprised of this one sheet, so we'll move it aside and go on. I really did not leave myself enough room to unfold another board on this table. We will check out this board though. We will check it out. We'll do that a little bit later. I cannot believe this comes with 135 miniatures. We've got dice, different things on them, got plastic colored rings, nothing we haven't seen already with this game. Our decks and our card deck dividers. Hooray, we do have new heroes in the form of Lace and Pines. And as a reminder, every hero character has their own deck because of the MDS, the modular deck system. Van Geyser, this is a horse person. This is a werehorse. I don't know about that one, guys. This is Gwendell. I love her. She's wonderful. Blake Gallows. She is really cool too. Gronan Bosk. Yeah, awesome. Love the dwarf. No, we just have the 5. But that's 5 more than we had. That's more than double what we had with just the base game and the expansion. Lunarin, Outlaws, Poxoid. Oh, the Poxoid. Oh, they're possum people. That's what's going on there. The Bray. Oh, the Bray. They're sheepy people. The Crowl. Oh no, they're not heroes. They're bad guys. The Crowl. The Crowl. It's gotta be the Crowl. Morgan. Pirate Lady. Rancidian. Oh god, it is as bad as I thought it was. He's like an AI created abomination, but like not AI generated. Billy the Kindler. I don't appreciate the pun, and it's too good to be mad at. He's a pyromancy goat man. Vivian the Crow. Broderick Heston, Pillaging the Vault, a quest curiously called The Entire World 2019. And In Too Deep. I forgot for a brief moment that there was a horseman in this. Why is there a reverse centaur in this? This table is such a mess right now. All right, we've got miniatures in a bag, bagged up separately. Get to this really quick. This is a horrifying werewolf, sinew, tendons, claws, and then this looks to be our bounty hunter lady. Why is she out in her own little package? Why doesn't she have a place amongst all the others? Come on. We have a special little box here, which is an expansion called The First Four. This is the smallest board game expansion box I think I've ever seen, if you don't count the 10 games that I've been reviewing. We just have miniatures after miniatures. All of our decks, of course, are going to be like interspersed and mixed with each other, sort of grouped by card, grouped by deck, of course, but kind of no rhyme or reason until we unbox them and put them in their respective tray. But so far, I don't see a place where we would be able to put those cards. No additional tray. Okay, we have a lot of one-shot minis here, a lot of unique sculpts. I'm just gonna get this over with. Here's our horseman. Braying into the sunset. Those are awfully long swords. I gotta give that to him. It's a horse with long swords, please. The Poxoid Ogre. God, he's terrifying. He is just so sickening. I mean that in a good way. We have what looks like a sort of bounty hunter or traveler type person with a bag of treasure. We have the end is nigh, and I'm going to flail it into your face. I really like this miniature. This is one of the Bray. This looks to be a shamanesque sort of, I just say that because of the robes really, type character with daggers. His incantation goes something like, Bahramu. This fellow has a tiny buckler and a really long sword. Compensation much? Here's our dwarf. Great sculpt. Like the light blue coloring. This is an old hermit type character. He reminds me a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoons Dungeon Master, but like, you know, serious. He's yassified. We have the Queen of the North, Sansa Stark, first of her name. Wait, no, sorry, wrong franchise. We have a really awesome werewolf sculpt. This guy has just freshly changed from his human form. Kind of looks like a quiver of arrows back there. No evidence of a bow though, so still amazing, just amazing. That's a sort of nun. Oh, she's really nice looking actually. A gentleman with a sword. He has just slapped you with his glove. Said he wishes to duel you for the honor of his lady, whom you insulted by calling her a floozy. Somebody who is belting out a tune at a bar in order to get somebody else to buy him another drink. Personally, I would pay him to stop singing. This guy, okay, so he's eyeballing treasure. I honestly thought, because I perceived elf, I thought that this guy was looking at his nails. And it just seemed like such elfish behavior, and I was just gonna sigh. This is kind of like a cat. It's very cat-like. I have no other notes, except meow. Was that necessary? Absolutely. We have the Lady Pirate. We looked at her card earlier. I have forgotten her name, but her sculpt is more impressive than I imagined it would be. I actually like her dynamic pose. And this is the Crow Lady. She's lovely. She is just absolutely lovely. And her magic spell, this is begging to be painted. It looks so awesome. We have what looks to be an elf lady wielding a long magical staff and firing a bit of magic from her hand. Another really cool sculpt that is also really pretty. This would be a fantastic character to bring over into HeroQuest. And then we've got this cool translucent fire elemental, demonic, big horns, bulky frame. Love this I'm gonna getcha sort of pose coming out of the flames. Kind of a calcifer on steroids, the really bad kind. We have a lot of features. This time we have a literal cage. I didn't know that this was that deep of a sculpt, but yeah, this is a cage that you can actually put over your characters so that for once you have a very immersive cell event. It does fit back onto the base squarely, so that's awesome. It takes up 2x2 tiles on the board, so will it HeroQuest? Yes. Yeah, 100%. You're gonna have to do a Will It HeroQuest with all this stuff separately. If this video gets 2,000 views, I will do a Will It HeroQuest with everything here. Everything. We have an awesome fountain and angel statue. I don't have anything else to say. It looks great. Looks fantastic. We have boxes, this time a good size, a feature that is supposed to be put down onto the board. Don't know how I feel about the bases though. Like the bases really just kind of force you to place them just so, and then nobody is going to be able to stand on the decorated base, so they're just going to serve as hindrances and to the bulk. Not really going to be so much of a big deal in a game like AltarQuest where the rooms start out big, but in something like HeroQuest it would be really hard to justify taking up the real estate. We have a treasure pile here, a 2x2 treasure pile. And I don't know if these are features necessarily. I could see them being features, having their own features deck. We have a bubbling cauldron. I love all of these. They're so highly thematic. They would all be worth taking up space on my board as long as they did so like in the central room. We have, I don't even know what to call this thing, magical sort of altar, probably what it is, probably an altar. And I've probably looked at several altars already without calling them out. But yeah, this is just begging for an awesome paint job. Oh man, that's just one tray and I'm already getting wore out. The second tray is going to be a lot easier to go through though, because it's a lot of repeat sculpts. So is the third tray. But here we have a member of the Bray wielding a giant axe. Is the axe flaming? Is it just covered in foliage? You be the judge. One of the Kroll, this time with dual daggers, very assassin-oriented. Would love to homebrew this into a HeroQuest enemy. Would actually love to homebrew it more into a hero. A satyr-type lady, another member of the Bray. She's got a staff. It implies that she is a spellcaster in my book. A mage type of the Kroll, fire coming out of both clawed hands, robes flowing, showing off those little talon feet. Again, going to commend the creators for the packaging of the minis. They are all very nice and compact, yet they are secure. This is the right way to do miniature storage in the trays of your board game. We have an elderly human man carrying a cane. This is his burden, or it's your burden once he attacks you with it. Not sure if he's magical or melee. Finally, we have one of the possum people, the what were they? The Poxkin? Love that. Love that. He's got the kinds of daggers that you tie to your wrists so that you can punch stab people. Punch daggers. What looks to be a human archer. Really nice sculpt. Like that a lot. Like the flowing capes, or robes rather. Love the sack. Don't know if that sack is full of treasure or if this is perhaps something to be used in trapping. Could play it either way, I suppose. And then another one of these pox individuals. Well, no, I don't know. Could be a werewolf too. Actually, yeah, look at the tail. That's a wolf, not a possum. There are werewolves among us. Let's keep going. We've only got a little bit left. One more tray, and this tray is also a thin one. Boy, the contents of this box were really packed in here. It's not at all like the expansion. Oh boy. Several at a time. Let's go. A female halfling. She's so cute. Love her. She's a little thief, little assassin type. I like halflings. I don't know what to tell you. Another short assassin type person. This time one of the were-possum individuals, the poxfolk, poxkin. Next up, I don't know what this race is. Looks like a little Namekian almost. Could be very tiefling inspired. Looks like a child, if not outright an imp. I have noticed in unboxing this stuff that you get pretty much 5 of every enemy. 5 is the number of enemies you shall have, and the number of enemies you shall have is 5. Okay, so I've seen this person, and there are multiples of her, so not sure why that one was packaged separately. Like, you get an extra one? It's okay, I'm not complaining. She's the one I said looked pretty cool. We have another Kroll this time with a little self bow, little crossbow, a pox mage. I'm going to cast sickness on you. Cough, cough, cough. Who said I needed to use magic? And then this human, although that's such a stony face, I imagine you could definitely like paint an iron mask or something on there, all ready to fire an arrow. He has knocked, he has drawn, maybe he has even aimed. This is possibly an enemy, possibly a character with which you can interact. Looks like there are only 4 of them. Could be a feature, just a corpse sitting in this pose. This is how this character died. Like I said, there are 4 of them, so you could really decorate a space with the flavor of heroes who have been in this room before, but they gave up as they were gassed into extinction. The pit trap, the spike trap, something to fall onto and perish, cease to exist. There are 4 of these. There are 4 of these banners. I actually really, really like banners like this, these little markers. You can use these for so many different things. You can use them to place down and give a buff to all of the entities in the line of sight that it affects. You could place it down and attack it or take it to another spot on the board. Perhaps it's a representation of allied forces that are called to defend it to one place. I don't know. I don't know how it works with this game, but they look really nice. This is a bit confusing to look at. It looks like a raging bonfire, a fire that has just erupted out of a pile of ashes, a mound of cinder. That's what it looks like to me. But then again, I have been playing a lot of Dark Souls, so unsure. All right, so another sculpted trap, this time the jaw trap. You've got your switch in the very center, and if you push it hard enough, ow! Just kidding, it's a static mold. This one's a little weird. It almost looks like some sort of plant or creature with its mouth wide open. Kind of looks like teeth around the borders, but they look like eggs or something. I'm not sure what to make of this. If it's a clutch of demonic eggs, or a plant that's getting ready to explode and release noxious fumes that could cause death or other status effects, such as dying. Yeah, it would make sense to me, yeah. Next up, we have block of cheese. Oh no, this is confusing. This could be a vat. Why is it like standalone? I don't know. It's full of bones. There's bones in there. This could be liquid in here. It's like an acid bath, perhaps. Not sure if that's what it is. Kind of the impression that I get looking at it. And finally, we have a death-dealing plague doctor character. Not sure if this is one of the Kroll. I'm sure a quick look through the deck would enlighten me. But those are all of our sculpts in the bottommost tray of the stretch goals. Now, there were no story guides that came with any of that. So that's a lot of monsters and no real certainty as to how they come into the game. So those details must be in AltarQuest the first 4. And this is not one of the secret content boxes that comes with Ruins of Arkenspire. So let's open up the first 4. Now, it might have said in the stretch goals how to use all this stuff. They might just be new decks of cards that you use when you are building your quests. There's just no story guide to put it all together. I suppose that's entirely possible. We get tiles, traps, music tiles for some reason, Illuminati tiles. These are double-sided, have the same pictures on both sides. Expansion overview, the contents, the expansion icon to let you know that every card is part of this expansion. That's very handy, very useful. I like that a lot. And our lore. And we have just one tray, obviously, and this includes Willow Banks. Oh, is she the reason we have the music symbols? Little Willow, little halfling bard. This game is really catering to my halfling needs. You can blame The Hobbit. I would say you can blame Lord of the Rings, but I saw the animated Hobbit movie long before I saw the first Peter Jackson Hobbit, or Lord of the Rings movie. And I actually enjoy the Hobbit movies just a little bit more. I don't know what it is about that particular adventure. I think it has a lot more charm. Why am I going into this tangent? I might have ignited a fiery furnace of nerd outrage. Karen Harrick, she looks pretty short. I would say this is a dwarf. Archer, Aveth Nemora, and Gavin Ulrich. Gavin Ulrich. Name sounds familiar. Doubtless we are going to have the decks associated with those deck dividers. Lingering Melody is one of them. Yep, she's a bard, all right. And then, pow, we've got the miniatures. This is Aveth. She has a really big trident weapon. You know, I say she, but I guess I'm not sure. He? They have a really big trident weapon. Yeah, that's probably a guy. Sorry about that, Aveth. Gavin here is just the picture of awesomeness. Love this look. Love the / barbarian paladin. He could fill a lot of different roles in a custom party. This miniature could. I mean, I'm not really sure what this character is capable of in this game. There is definitely a size difference between what I'm assuming is a dwarf and what I'm assuming is a halfling. But our dwarf with her crossbow, she's really cool. I like her. This would be a really cool little expansion to get if you were looking to supplement your games, your other games, with these miniatures. and our tiny halfling bard. And I'm just going to say that the quality of these miniatures through and through has been really good. I've been impressed with everything that I've seen. Definitely better than the Nolzur's WizKids miniatures. It's not hard to win me over. Your miniatures just have to be better than those. And honestly, you're throwing a lot of shade here. That's not hard to do. So with the contents of the first 4 done, let's try to unfold this board. I reckon this is an alternative board that you can use with whatever campaign you like. Maybe it's the same layout, just has a different look. And it's another cursed, I can't, I'm gonna have to make room. My room is a mess right now. It's like the camera's rolling, so I can't really stop and clean up. I really don't like stopping a video and splicing stuff together. Okay, really don't like how 6-fold boards are unfolded. Kinda hate it, to be honest with you. Everything is about to fall over and just absolutely wreck everything. Okay, there we go. We're done. This is the board, and I thought that there was a possibility it could be. This is the stair tile that comes with the base game of AltarQuest, by the way. It's not a HeroQuest tile. It looks just exactly like that stair tile, almost, but it is different. Almost thought it could be like a situation where the boards were the exact same configuration of rooms, same spaces. This was just flavored differently. That's not the case. This is a different configuration of rooms. So having this configuration of rooms, although we do still have the single corridor that surrounds the entire board, which I actually think is pretty cool. I wonder if we're able to play the exact same quests from the core game and the expansion just on this different board, and then it feels different. Because if the quests are going to be like procedurally generated or played by the story deck, and you're not actually told to go into specific rooms, then I can kind of see how every time you play that specific quest from the quest deck, which I just called the story deck erroneously, could feel like a very different experience each time you play. So the fact that all of these rooms are going to be on the board in the exact same places every time is a little bit less of a concern. We've looked at everything AltarQuest, and before I get to the warning about these boxes, just want to thank everybody for their very kind support. Commenting in the comments helps tremendously, and if you're one of those that likes to comment bits and pieces as the video is going on, that's totally fine too. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I encourage you to do so. We're at the part now where I will say, turn back if you don't want to know what's in these boxes. I'm going to open both box 1, which says do not open until instructed, and box 2, which says the same thing. These are from the Ruins of Arkenspire expansion. All right, and that's it. That was your warning. Warning, warning, warning. If you're complacent and you're washing dishes, here's just enough more time to dry your hands and get to your phone or TV and change channel. But what's in here is honestly not going to be that shocking or that surprising. I've already looked into these boxes. So we are opening them up now. That was it. There's no time left. You might as well keep watching. You've made it this far. Box 1 contains a card that represents the first altar. It's an altar card that I assume you will add to your other altar cards, because you have to have the base game of AltarQuest to play the expansion after all. And it comes with this miniature, which I guess is an altar, even though it has its own flavor, its own look. Why did they sculpt these things? Why did they call these altar? I don't know. We're going to open up box 2 now. We're just going to go straight into box 2. No reason to have hidden this behind a box. It doesn't offer like a huge shock value. It's nothing super joyous to see. However, the second box contains its own deck called Akara. I don't see a deck separator. She is a hero. We'll just open her little baggie up here. She has one of the cutest miniatures that I have seen. Like, this is Assassin from Rise of the Dreadmoon levels of cute. This is a very, very cute sculpt. Cute lady. Love her. She's a hero. She's cast in light blue. She has this set of handcuffs to use as a weapon attached to a really long chain. Not sure how that works, but no, I'm impressed with her design, her character. She's cool. I think that this is really cool. What would I do if I were going to be tasked with filling surprise boxes with content? I would put twists and turns to a story that really shook the players to their core. I would put like zombie versions of heroes or evil versions of heroes, or like if this was going to be Mentor from HeroQuest, then I can kind of said that backwards. If it was HeroQuest, I would put Mentor in a box, or I would put Zargon themselves in a box, or I would have a box that had an evil version of Mentor, which kind of highlighted the twist that Mentor was a bad guy the whole time. These boards do not have any sort of way to connect, but they do have door symbols across all the rooms. I suppose if you really wanted to connect your boards, you could put a door here, have your heroes go through it and end up on the second board or anywhere else on this one. Not sure if the quest decks would limit that or prohibit it in any way, although I'm sure the rules as written would. But that's it. That is the entirety of the AltarQuest content wrapped up in this second video. I'll do another one to combine it with HeroQuest after I get everything cleaned up and organized in here, and you'll be able to see what the differences are in scale. I think they're going to be pretty close, and I think everything is going to supplement the other game fairly well if you're looking for homebrew content. So would I get AltarQuest? Well, I don't know because I haven't played it yet. But the contents are really cool looking. I have to say that much. Pretty much everything across all of the boxes I've opened has been stellar. So for that reason alone, it looks like it's a pretty good buy. And speaking of good buys, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now.